everyone, welcome to another episode of Ask Flora. This week's question comes from Anonymous at my P.O. Box, and the letter reads, Dear Flora, I know this isn't like your regular Ask Flora questions, but I've been following you for years and really value your advice. I'm hoping you'll take this question in hopes it may help others in a similar situation. 5 years ago, I was in a very dark place. I just went through a messy divorce and my self-worth was non-existent. Losing the house to my now ex, one of my good friends invited me to stay with her until I got back on my feet. I ended up having an affair with her husband for several months. Being adamantly against cheating, I'm shocked that I fell for this man's manipulations and deceptions. I own my actions, but this was very out of character for me. I moved out of their home after 4 months and tried to rebuild my life. I found out several months later that they were getting a divorce due to him cheating on her with several other people. I kept this hidden from her for all these years. Since this has happened, I've gone through 3 years of relationship therapy to clear through the guilt and the reasons why I would have allowed this to happen. I also have started coaching others about self-worth and codependency. During this time, I've had a few close relationships. Being honest with my partners about my past, I told them about what I did and it ruined everything. They didn't trust me and treated me horribly. Tired of this secret ruining my life, I decided to tell my friend what happened. Yesterday, I told her what I had done. I didn't ask her to forgive me, only hear what had happened. She didn't yell or scream. She sounded very matter-of-fact with me on the phone, almost like she wasn't surprised by his actions, but was surprised by mine. Since that affair happened, I have worked very hard at being honest to a fault in my life. But with her, I feel she will never believe what I say or trust me again, and am unsure about what to do next. Any advice or insights would be welcomed. Sincerely, Anonymous from Utah. Well, Anonymous, thank you so much for writing this letter. I'm sure it was very challenging for you to write. And I also want to commend you for your courage in sharing your story with my viewers and myself. And also for taking action and getting therapy for this as well. Now, to answer your question about what to do next, I would encourage you to continue to go to your therapist about the situation as well as the new dynamics between you and your friend. And it sounds like that you've done a lot of work around your self-worth, which is fabulous because that's something that sometimes can take years to repair. Now, on to the question about your friend trusting you. Now, I hope you realize that you did break that bond of trust with her, which is a pretty huge thing. And I would recommend that you give your friend her space. During this time, she's obviously going to need to process. And in this time of processing, she's also going to need time to heal and possibly reach out to you to continue the friendship if she's willing to. Now, the ball is in her court at this point. Now, I'm sure that you've looked at it and that you've seen the ripple effect of your actions throughout your therapy experience, so I'm not going to get into that aspect from a coaching standpoint, but I would recommend, and I actually do want to recommend 2 books that have personally changed my life when it comes to relationships. So the first book is How to Be an Adult, and this book, and the author is David Rico, and I've mentioned this book many times in the past. But this book talks about engulfment and abandonment, and if either of those are triggered in your life, how, if triggered by engulfment or abandonment, it could lead to situations such as the one that you were in. And it also gives you ways to recognize those triggers and also how to work with them to diffuse them in your life so that you aren't as triggered by engulfment or abandonment. Now, the next book that I want to recommend is The 4 Agreements, and this is by Don Miguel Ruiz. Fabulous, fabulous book. First time I read it, I didn't resonate with it, but the second time that I read it, I took it to heart and absolutely changed my life. Now, this book teaches us how to live by 4 basic agreements. And those agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and also do your best always. Now, this book may help you in navigating your relationship with your friend if she chooses to reach out to you. But another thing that this will do, it's also going to help you with any other kind of interactions with basically anybody on a daily basis, because it will help you to take expectations out of the equation and will really help you to fully show up in the present moment. Now, I know that the situation that you shared with us is a very, very intricate situation, and I can only get so much answered here on this Ask Flora segment, but I would love to work with you one-on-one if you're interested. And again, I hope that this has helped you. Allow your friend to process, heal, and then if she desires to rebuild that relationship with you, it's up to her to reach out and initiate that rebuilding. But you also have to be willing to hear how she processes and how she's healing from this particular situation. And also allow your actions to really speak louder than any words that you could say. She's known you for at least 5 years. I don't know how long you've known her before this situation happened, but she knows how you were before and even after that situation. And so let her come to her own conclusions. But again, I would continue, if I were you, to go to therapy and work on codependency, work on self-worth, and also continue to work on how to put things in place in your life so that you will no longer be in a situation like this again, which I'm sure you spoke to your therapist about. So, and again, I want to thank you so much for sharing your story with us and with myself, and I hope that you found value in my response. If you have a question for this Ask Flora segment, please feel free to email me, flora@florasage.com, and I would be happy to answer your question here on this Ask Flora segment. Until next time, bye-bye.